Hello, my name is the Reverend David Coleman. I'm the vicar of St Stephen's Church, Steeton with Eastburn. I've called this thought for the week, a weak leg and a strong father. Hopefully it's coming out on or around Father's Day. So if you're out there watching this and you're a father, happy Father's Day. If you're out there watching this and you're a wife or partner, son or daughter, and you've forgotten, you've got time to put it right. We all have different images of fathers, don't we? Strong or supportive, weak or absent, kind or critical. Jesus was the first to call God Father. He used the term Abba, which translated means daddy, a term of great intimacy. And it's out of that relationship that we get what we now call the Our Father or the Lord's Prayer. I personally know the idea of good father well enough from those who displayed those characteristics of a strong and good father, supportive father, loving father to me, whether they were people from my local church, from my local community, the Working Men's Club, and yes, even my relatives. But as for my own father, George, well, I didn't really get to meet him until I was an adult, along with my brother and our families, because many years earlier, George had actually deserted my mother when I was 3 and my brother just 18 years old. We spent many years not knowing our father. He wasn't in touch, we weren't in touch. And eventually, when we got married, my sister-in-law, Donna, Brian's wife, decided it would be a good idea to try and make that connection. I think she was a fan of Long Lost Family. Well, we made the connection. We went along to meet George, but funny enough, he didn't spend any time at all asking Brian and myself about our childhood and moving into adulthood and the things we were interested in or cared about. He spent most of the time showing rather strange attention to Donna and Rosemary, our wives. Well, there it goes, a disappointment. Not really like that episode of Long Lost Family that we'd hoped for or dreamed of. But that's just my story. Your story, I hope and believe, is probably quite different. There are many of you out there who've experienced the love and attention of unconditional father love. I'm glad. I'm pleased for you. I also know through my own friends and families that there are many of you out there who've lost your fathers. Your fathers are now dead and you deeply miss them every single day. There'll also be a number of you out there for whom this is your first Father's Day without Dad. My thoughts and prayers are with you at this time. The Christian writer Max Lucado once said that the honest prayers of hurting people reach into the very heart of God because God is moved by our pain rather than by our fine words. It's good for vicars and priests and preachers to remember that, isn't it? So in God's own way, in a way we don't quite understand, there is a response to our pain. And that's sometimes displayed in the most surprising and memorable way through us, his children, human beings, in how we treat one another. For me, the personal experience of an absent father meant when I became a father, I made time to be at every event, every music event, every play, every school assembly that involved my children, every sports day. That's not because I'm particularly good or caring. It came from a place of love, yes, but because of my own personal experience. And it went even a little further than that. It extended to those whose parents, for whatever reason, couldn't be there at those events. I seem to have a special antennae to look out for those who were expecting their parents, but for whatever reason, their parents couldn't make it. That was my particular way, based on my experience, of letting those children know that for one moment in time, if it helped them, I was there with a big smile and an encouraging word because their parents couldn't be there. And I hope that reflected something of the love of God as Father to each and every one of them. The Bible says that there is a special blessing for the fatherless. And I believe that has been in action in my own life. There's nothing that substitutes personal experience for motivation and approach to issues that we care about. We've seen that just recently from Marcus Rashford and from his own experience as he's taken a stand, campaigned, lobbied, and been successful in ensuring that children who need school meal vouchers will get them through this summer. I'm sure that will just be the beginning of a new chapter for that young man, the millionaire footballer, who will have time for others. I'm sure we'll see him leading other campaigns out of that personal experience. But now I'd like to take you back to 1992 to the Olympic Stadium in Barcelona for the 400 metres semi-final race. Britain's Derek Redmond was a hot favourite to win it. Yet halfway through the race, he felt a searing pain in his leg. He crumpled to the ground, clutching his torn hamstring in agony. His Olympic dream was over. The race completed while Derek was still crumpled in a heap on the track. After a short while, the officials and attendants approached Derek, but he fought to his feet by himself, hopping in an attempt, in great pain, to finish the race that had long since been over. The crowd of 65,000 fell silent as they watched Derek try to do the impossible, to complete the race. It seemed unlikely. Then more officials emerged to encourage him to give way, to just leave the track, accept the inevitable. And at that point, a man appeared running on the track. He burst through those trying to restrain him. On his t-shirt was the slogan, "Have you hugged your child today?" The man was the only person Derek would accept help from. It was Derek's father, Jim. Jim said to Derek, "You don't have to do this." And Derek responded, "Yes, I do." Jim then said, "Well, let's finish the race together." He wrapped his arms around Derek's shoulder, continued to fight off all the officials who tried to persuade them otherwise, and he ensured that Derek hobbled over the finish line to a different sort of Olympic glory. The crowd stood, clapped, cheered, and yes, some even wept. Not many people remember who won that race, but many, many millions of people remember Derek and his father, Jim. In fact, that particular race was voted the single most memorable Olympic moment from a British athlete of the 20th century. There have been times when I have felt God lift me up from the floor, when my pain seemed unbearable. God was there to take all my weight, let me cry on his shoulder, and carry me forward to the finish line. When I thought I could do it by myself, I learnt to accept I was hopelessly wrong. May you know that when you fully rely on God to show the quality of a true father, he will be there with outstretched arms, a shoulder to lean on or to cry on, and a determination to help you finish what he has started in you. God doesn't need the t-shirt to tell us that he has hugged his child today, yesterday, tomorrow, and every day. May you know the love of God this Father's Day, this difficult season of coronavirus this year of 2020 and always. Amen.